Hello, how's everyone doing? We're back. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Infinitude Fight. Infinitude Fight is a great company that allows you to customize all your fighting gear, boxing gloves, your groin guards, head guard, even your shorts. Infinitude Fight provides you an opportunity to design your boxing equipment yourself, and then you get it delivered and shipped to you in less than 18 working days. They are the world's only exclusive high-quality custom boxing gloves and gear provider. There are infinite possibilities with customization options that allow you to extend your attitude to your gear. 3-tier exclusive boxing gloves and gear customized builder in the world. Use our intuitive customizer to visualize what you want your gear to look like and receive your personalized gear that you have designed in less than 18 working days. These people are amazing. You can customize your own boxing gloves, headgear, groin guards, even your jiu-jitsu gi. You can go to infinitude5.com/customize and use our code word $5 Angels fans, $5 Angels fans to get $5 off your order. Do that now, thank me later, and let's all be awesome when we spar and train and fight. Okay? My guest this time is the great, mighty Dr. Yared Vazquez, the Octagon Doctor. He is a Puerto Rican doctor who now lives in Florida, and he has incredible insight and knowledge of combat sports, because not only did he practice and still practices combat sports, but he is a fight doctor. He practices right now in the state of Florida. He used to do it in Iowa, and this conversation was very, very good, and it's one of the many times Dr. Yared Vazquez is going to be on my podcast. I don't want to ruin anything with this intro, so just enjoy the conversation I had with the mighty Dr. Yared Vazquez. Enjoy.
Angels Combat World.
Boom. Dr. Yared Vazquez, what's going on?
Yes, sir. Doing good. Ready to talk some MMA.
Good.
Some medicine.
Perfect. Let's just hit the background as we always do. Where were you born? And all that good stuff. What was your intro to combat sports and all that? But let's start with where were you born and where you were raised?
Yes, I was born in the south side of Puerto Rico, in Ponce, Puerto Rico, and I was raised in a public housing project, Residencial La Ceiba. So shout out to all the people that are from a public housing project. That is what's up. You can make it. I'm living proof. And yeah, man, 25 years lived in a public housing project, and very proud of it.
Good. You're living in Florida, correct?
Yeah, I'm living in Florida, living in Tampa, Florida. I lived in Ocala, Florida. Lived in Iowa for some time, but moved down here, Florida, to be closer to my island.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. How often do you visit?
I try to go every year. I haven't been in 2 years. Working, moving, and kind of finding my niche in Florida. It's been a little harder than I expected, but I plan on going in April, around April 22nd, 25, around there. I'll visit.
Cool.
In 2 years, though.
A little over a month left to go.
Oh,
Yeah, you'll be all right. You'll make it.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Who do you have over there? Your pops and your mom and all that?
Yeah. I got the great majority of my family lives in Puerto Rico. I got some family in New Jersey, Jersey City. I have good friends living in Wisconsin and in Iowa. But yeah, the great majority down there. Kind of the base of the families down there.
Cool. What was your introduction to combat sports? Don't say boxing, because that doesn't count. It's not fair. We always watch boxing.
Exactly. For combat sports, and that's the only sport I felt I belonged to since I was very little. Like, I'm tall, I'm 6'6" and 6 foot and a little bit more.
Whoa.
And basketball, I tried that. My father, kind of tried to encourage me because, that 6 foot, although not big for Puerto Ricans, you can be center.
Huge.
You can be a center. You can play.
Huge.
I tried that. I didn't I was okay, but never my thing. I did start on Taekwondo. Loved it. It was my thing. It instantly felt amazing. The vibe in the school was great. We watched the movies in the 80s, Karate Kid and Enter the Dragon. So you're like, oh, this is my spot. This is my sport. So ever since I was 12, I've been practicing multiple martial arts, karate. I was part of the UPR first kind of karate team. We had a karate team. Yeah, it was a short-lived experience because it was the administration of the UPR in Ponce. They allowed us to be a team and to wear the logo of college and go to competitions and stuff. So I was part of that for about a year and a half, and then I continued to study medicine. But I've been judo, karate, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, you name it, since I was a kid.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That's the only thing I know.
Yeah.
You can talk. I sit down with friends to watch a football game. I'm silent. I don't know jack about football, about baseball. I can't name a player of any other sport.
Yeah, I mean, combat sports is such a huge world, and it's a huge universe that there's so many different subjects to talk about. Maybe you only like kickboxing, or some people only like MMA or boxing, but then there's this kind of nerd like us.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and you gotta remember that I was born in 47. I'm 41. So when I was a kid in my early years, there was no content to consume. I mean, I lived in a very poor place and didn't have cable, just local TV. So it's your karate movie every now and again. You're practicing the sport and you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, around the 90s, kickboxing, the ISKA, International Sports Kickboxing Association, made a deal with ESPN and ESPN too. So if you were up late enough, 2 a.m., 2:30, you would catch a kickbox. You remember long pants? Remember the long karate pants, shirtless? And sometimes you got that. But, man, once that UFC 1 came around, the early 2000s, I was hooked. And I knew I was going to be a part of it one way or the other. So, all things come to fruition. And I've been blessed.
Yeah, I'm sure when the UFC started, like, we would get the VHS tapes for sure.
The cassette.
Yeah.
And you had to get it. You had to go to like the dark place in the video, where the Faces of Death videos were and porn and all that stuff.
Yeah, the back
you had to go back there, ask your dad, like, Dad,
can you come with me?
So I could get the UFC. And he's like, are you trying to watch porn?
Come on, be honest now.
We all went through the dark days, but now there's so much to choose from. I mean, you just go to UFC Fight Pass and you have grappling. You have you even have that weird 4 against 4 MMA in UFC Fight Pass. You have dudes fighting in medieval armor. Karate.
True.
Yeah, there's almost too much now.
Dude, yeah. How about that Bass Rutten company, Karate Combat?
I know.
It's looking legit.
I love it.
Right?
I love it. It's so the feel of it. It's that
pit.
Caved in, that pit. And they try to do that around. I think it was 2009 or 2010.
I think before
around
Chuck Norris tried his WCL.
Yeah, Chuck Norris. Yeah, he tried that karate league, and then they tried Bama. I think when Bama tried to do a sports league where they were giving belts out for world champions.
Right.
They tried to do. It was a short-lived experience. I remember the early days of Sherdog and stuff.
Yes.
I remember the threads on that.
Yeah.
But it didn't. But it feels right now. The production value of all the money comes into combat sports. I mean, it's done the correct way now.
It's done the correct way. I think because they reached out to. I think because they. Well, there's a lot of money being pumped into it for sure, but they reached out to the right guy too. They reached out to Boss Rutan, who is a genius in anything that has to do with combat sports.
He's amazing. I mean, he was there since the beginning, so he knows where he wants his product. And I think for an ambassador of a product, he's the best guy. You know, well spoken, funny as all hell,
yes,
and dynamic. And he knows combat sports. I mean, at the core of it, you have to know combat sports really well to be a part of it. So I love it. He's I haven't met him yet, but the moment I meet him, I'm gonna fanboy out.
For sure.
I'm gonna freak out.
For sure.
I'm gonna freak out. Yeah.
For sure. You remember when he beat Randleman from the bottom?
Of course. That's one of the only fights I can quote.
That never happens.
That it almost never happens anymore.
Dude, that never happens. All right, let's stick to you. What was your intro to medicine, though? Why were you interested, and how did that come about?
Oh, I definitely started medicine. My father, he's retired now, but he's a paramedic. So, you know, in the public housing project, the hood, if you will.
Yes.
When people would get hurt, when people would get stabbed, when people, you know, anything health related, and they would come around and whistle for my dad. We lived on the third floor. So my dad always had medication samples and suture kits and stuff. So whenever something happened around the housing project, you know, people would go get him to take care of the stuff, and he would bring me along. You know, he like, let's go here, you know, somebody got shot or something. So I got desensitized to all that stuff, and I really like that dynamic of, okay, something happened, instead of running away from it, we're going towards it. So that dynamic, as I was very little, you know, I gravitated to, man, I like the feel of it, I like helping people, and it was just amazing. So I was instantly hooked. It's people that work in healthcare know it's addictive, right? When you're helping and you're taking care of these worst case scenario situations, you want to keep doing it. And you fall in love with it. So for me, I fell in love with it at a very early age. Seeing my dad knew his good doctor saying. I mean, he's not a doctor, but I think he would have been an excellent physician. So yeah, that was my first introduction, and since that age, yeah, I knew it was what I was meant to do.
Cool. And then both worlds combined because now you're a fight doctor.
It was the funniest story ever. I always knew, you know, when I was in med school and residency, I would get together with my friends in my apartment, and we would, you know, medical students were still poor. We're not making money, so it's like, hey, everybody put in $5 and you come to my place and we see UFC. I used to buy all the pay-per-views.
Wow.
That way, we would make a pot, and everybody would put $5 in, and that way we would get all pay-per-views. And I always, you know, talk to my friends. We're having drinks, and we're hanging out. I'm like, man, when I graduate, this is what I'm gonna do. I want to be a fight doctor. And I always looked, right. This is very early social media days. This is around 2010, 2013 when I was finishing my specialty. And I was always looking, where are these doctors that work in this awesome sport? I don't see them. I don't see any videos made by them. I don't see any features. I don't see, you know, if you're asked, oh, who's the best guy? Who's the top guy? There was no name. I was looking for them, but nobody. It was just like random doctors all over the place. So, you know, I graduated. I go to Iowa, Marshalltown, Iowa. So I moved down there. I get a good offer for employment. And I just go to Iowa. I start working. You know how MMA nerds are. Every chance we get, we're talking about MMA, right? Every little chance that we get. So I was talking MMA with a drug rep, you know, one of these pharmaceutical guys that takes drug samples and talking about a new drug. You know, 5 minutes into the conversation, we're already talking about MMA. And the guy was an MMA fan, so we're talking about it, and he's like, hey, you're a doctor. Have you ever been a doctor in a show? And I'm like, never, you know. I've done some work in tournaments and stuff, and Los Panamericanos, you
Right.
know, the karate
Yeah.
stuff in Panamericanos in Puerto Rico, but nothing big, you know. I was like, cool, give me your phone number. I have a friend. And, you know, I left it at that. One time, I was just working, hanging out in the office, and I got a call. And I'm like, hello, who's this? And I was like, this is Josh Neer. I have a show. And I thought it was my friend. I thought it was that pharmaceutical guy
Right.
who was faking. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure.
Sure it is.
Yeah, sure, Josh Neer. How you doing, UFC Josh? And he's like, serious. He's like, yeah, I'm just Neer. This so-and-so gave me your phone number, and I need a doctor. I was thinking, oh my God, shit, this is actually the dentist, Josh Neer, blah, blah, blah. So,
Yeah.
they needed a doctor, so I scraped together all the stuff I had, and I came up with a plan. I went there. I loved it. Absolutely loved my first MMA show. It was, I remember it's been hundreds of shows already, but it was World War Fighting Championship, WWFC, and Josh Neer was the co-promoter.
Wow.
So I started there. After that, I'm like, no, I'm going to start my own brand. I'm going to have a recognizable face and name. If I'm going to start doing these, I'm going to put content out. So I started buying GoPros, started buying things, lights, backgrounds, you name it. Started learning how to edit by myself, because you see, in the cool part about this is that the best part, in my opinion, the best part of an MMA show is getting missed. People are missing it, which is when the fighters get to the venue, the interaction the doctor has with the fighters, when the commission is having their meeting with the fighters, you're doing the fighter physical. That's some of the coolest interactions ever. The fighters, you see the nerves of the fighters, you see how they prepare for the fight, and that's an aspect that almost, I mean, the UFC, I think, does a pretty good job of putting out content of the fighter preparing, but the doctors are not included in there. The commission mostly is left out of it. The referee, the refs and all that stuff, you don't see them in there. So I made it a point to include refs, the commission, the meeting, what we do, how we hang out with the fighters. And doctors usually have a pretty close relationship with the fighters. So I made it a point to create a brand out of that and project that. So I've been able to successfully do that. And when I started doing that, you know, people started calling me. They know, oh, you're passionate about combat sports, come do my show.
Right.
So in the 4 years I lived in Iowa, I traveled and it's in thousands of fights that I've been the doctor for, hundreds of MMA shows, boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, you name it. I've been a doctor for it, so it was a true blessing, but it kind of fell on my lap, to be honest. So it's kind of what I was meant to do.
Right. You were looking for it, though.
I know. I did. I knew what I wanted to put out there, and I still put out content consistently every day. I've done a couple shows here in Florida, but I'm in the process of getting some bigger shows here in Florida. I'm working some cool projects in Puerto Rico as well. So I'm trying to get that whole started. I mean, we deserve a bigger MMA scene, and you definitely have to have Wilfredo, Royalty Combat CEO, on this show. I'll connect you guys because he has some bombs to drop, so you have to have him.
Yeah, I gotta meet him.
Yeah, most definitely. He's Wilfredo, one of the hardest working guys in Puerto Rico MMA. It's him. He rarely gets the recognition that he deserves, and he worked really hard in the past 2 or 3 years. He's living in Vegas right now, but he came up with a new MMA promotion in the island, and he put out a great volume of fight shows in Puerto Rico in smaller venues, and really, really help new guys the process of learning how to be an amateur fighter in the island, because we are very anemic, so there's a huge lack of shows back home in Puerto Rico. The commission has its huge problems. They have very poor experience, but I'm putting it out there in the waves. I'm willing to help. I think I'm going to have a leading role in the coming years in revamping the athletic commission in Puerto Rico. So I'm all for it.
For sure, yeah.
And you have to have one fellow. Yeah.
Yes. Anything I can do, for sure, to get that ball rolling too. We all want to be a part of it because we all want to help because it deserves it. Like Puerto Rico is such a big spot for big industries, pharmaceutical, for tourism for sure, and gastronomical, and all different companies just trampoline off of Puerto Rico. But for some reason, mixed martial arts and other combat sports besides boxing can't really get some traction in Puerto Rico. Be the reason what it may, and it's sad because Puerto Rico can host a lot of different events, but we can definitely produce and export talent for sure because that's the best thing.
Absolutely.
That's our best product, talent. We have baseball players, boxers, and basketball players, and different kinds of athletes and artists too. So I'm sure that on the west coast of Puerto Rico, there's some really good stuff going on MMA wise.
There's tons of. Think about it's the same thing like Brazil. Brazil is a great hotbed of MMA talent, right? There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of struggling people that don't have the means to be a professional sports. Think about it, like we're a small people, right? Our stature is not our best attribute, so that leaves baseball. Soccer is not huge at all in Brazil. It's huge, but there's so much people that only so many people can become professional soccer players. But if you think about a professional fighter, you can make a living as a fighter. You can be small and aggressive, and we're not short of aggressive people, right? So we're a fighting tribe, sort of thing. We're a fighting people. So boxers are all over the boxes. But I think there's a lot of trainers down in Puerto Rico, a lot of traditional. There's a lot of a dojo environment back home.
Yes.
There's not a lot of hey, there's BJJ. There's John. There's not a lot of presence. I think what's that school? It's not one word.
Betting jiu-jitsu.
Betting jiu-jitsu. Shout out to my friend. I have a friend who's a medical student, who's an orthopedic surgeon. I think Jonathan Pastrana. He was one of the blue belts I used to roll with back in Puerto Rico. Shout out to Jonathan Pastrana. He's my boy. But betting jiu-jitsu. I think one of the there's a female that's doing I don't know if that's UFC. Angela Magaña down there too.
Yes.
Doing a lot of boxing things in poor communities. So shout out to her for that. But other than that, there's not a big camp. I know Aníbal González, Ichi González, he's doing something, right?
Dude, Ichi has
one of the biggest communities. But we are lacking that, like a big ATT. Somebody from the States coming down and creating a legitimate stable of fighters that not Mac dojos, and no disrespect to those guys down there. I mean, they're doing the best they can with the resources, but a guy like David Thunder Cummings, although he's had his issues, but he's a good Muay Thai coach. But it's all very fragmented. We would almost need like a ATT and a Brazilian camp down there, and that would fill out, and you would have so many great fighters coming out of those camps.
True.
Right? But that's what we're lacking. And a couple promotions and the commission to really get their shit together, because there's no other way to say it, right? I was finally missing my words, but they need to get their shit together and really provide the tools to guys like Wilfredo to, pump up and start up and keep their promotions rolling, so the fighters have the environment to test their skills and boost their records and start moving the industry along. And of course, I'm going to push that. I'll be part of that.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, we all need to put our heads together and start doing too. For sure, you're going to be a huge part of that. And Raúl Alzaga and Fernando Diaz, they're always advocating and screaming MMA to Puerto Rico for sure. For sure. So yeah, I think this community of MMA nerds can get it done.
Yes, I'm hoping that all the work. But think about that. It's so hard to get a little recognition for that work. And think about my case. I'm a physician that came out of Public Health and Project. I've worked with big. I've worked with King of the Cage. I worked with JC's boxing promotion, Rock Nation. Yeah. I've worked in Victory Fighting Championships, King of the Cage, the UFC fight, you name it, right? I've been in all those. I've been in different podcasts. So you have to bring MMA back to Puerto Rico. We need to revamp that commission. Hopefully you have Wilfredo on. He's been dying to put out his points and his experience as a promoter. But we have good people working, like you said, Raúl, myself, you, putting out that content. I think that's all it takes, spreading the word and not letting it fall on deaf ears. Just continue the relentless pace of. And I'm happy you're doing the podcast. I'm happy you're doing the videos, and there's another voice echoing all the information. So I'm glad and pumped, and hopefully all your stuff grows. I'll be right there helping you and sharing your content and doing this together.
Thank you. That really means a lot. This just started as a selfish way of me talking to fighters because I'm a nerd. And then then I figured out that I can actually make something out of this and try to guide this and then hand in hand with the MMA community from Puerto Rico, but also everywhere else. See what we can build, and then how we can help the game. I wanna stay in your fight doctor point real quick. Mm-hmm. If you want to walk us through the protocol when you get to the venue, how does that work? From the moment you get there to the moment you leave.
Oh, it starts even further back. Like let's get an example. I'll get a call a couple of weeks ahead of the fight. I'll make sure I know how many bouts are in there because it was trial and error in the beginning. I just learned from my mistakes because there's no protocol in the state. Iowa's a great state. Shout out to Joe Walsh on the Iowa State Athletic Commission. They are freaking superstars and great staff. They bring to life so many MMA cards a year that they deserve the recognition. But you learn as you go. So I'll get the call a couple weeks out. I'll take the time off, of course, as a physician. You have very limited time, so I'll take that time off. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, okay, how many fights, how many pro fights, how many amateur fights, how many fights in total? And you get a number. You're like, it's going to be around 12 fights, 12, 13, 14 fights. You'll get one or two fighters that no-show. So you'll be like, okay, so I have to plan for 12 fights, but, how much gauze, how much, suturing material, mm-hmm. How much ice bags, how much medication I need. So I'll pre-plan that, and I'll make sure I have it on stock for that day. I have time. If I know the fighters, right? I'll reach out to the fighters, hey, that have injuries, right? You learn as you grow in a state, you tend to become friends with a lot of the training camps, which is a difficult part because you know that there's always camps. This camp hates this camp, and they're fighting amongst each other. But as a doctor, you got to be neutral, and you got to be like, well, I have one of my boys trains here, another one of my boys trains here. So you got to be neutral. You can't show a lot of support in their individual careers because you first of all, you're there to provide their help. So you got to reach out. If you know the fighter that has injuries, you got to reach out and see how did your fight camp, mm-hmm. right? A fighter let's say a fighter got knocked out 3 months ago, and you're going to be a doctor, and you know that he's going to fight. Hey, how you doing? Headache? Have you been taking fish oil? So you make sure that you cover all your points. Right? The day of the fight, you make sure to get there together. Usually, I might go or I might not go to the weigh-in Um, there's unfortunately the smaller shows don't require the physician to lead the way, but if you can lead the way, that's a cool thing to do too, and verify that the waiter's cut, the fighter's weight cut goes well. Unfortunately, you can't. The doctor can't be, the weight cuts. They're doing it in the hotel. They're doing it at home. They're doing different. So you can't keep an eye on all that stuff as much as I would like. But you get the sense. You get the sense of how healthy or how sucked in they are. You take a look at the videos. For the way you make notes, would make a little. Have a little notepad and say, hey, take a look at this guy. Mm-hmm. Make sure you examine him a little bit more thorough.
Right.
There's fighters that simply I don't let go through for fighting.
Wow.
I get there the day of the fight. The fighters fill out the forms, the physical forms, and you start examining. And it's a big volume of guys. If there's 10 fights, you got to do 20 physicals. So it's 10 fights. You're seeing 20 fighters, and you're going through 20 physicals, and you're doing neurologic tests. Most of the fighters are in top-notch health. But there's some fighters that have some miles on them, and you have to pay a little closer attention. So it takes you about, let's say, 2-3 hours of constant, checking blood pressure, checking their pupils and all that stuff, and okaying the fights. After that part is done, and you gather all the information, you'll take notes. So I would take, let's say there's a fighter that's been knocked out 2-3 times, and you have that, and document it. So you'll go and huddle and talk to the ref. Hey, this guy's been dinged, way too many times. Mm-hmm. Let's try to not let him absorb that much punishment. And also create a friendship with the referees. So if you're communicating well with them, it works like a well-oiled machine, and you're tell them, hey, this is my signal for not, stop it, or let me take a look, and create that environment, and you're able to kind of judge what's going on in the fight. So you finish your physicals, you check all that stuff, you take your notes, then you sit and wait patiently. Fight starts, and the fighters, you don't have any contact with the fighters as they're coming in the ring. They're checked, they get their Vaseline, they go in, they fight. As they finish fighting, they'll walk out, and you'll have a time to do a very brief check. So you just check their pupils, you check if they have any injuries, you kind of observe their demeanor to see how well affected or how bad is the fight. I mean, if it's a quick submission, those are my favorites, because the fighters are healthy.
No one's hurt.
They did it on sort of punishment. I'm like, oh, I'm glad. We're that's not from your neck and choke. I'll take that L all day, every day.
Yes.
But if they're dinged up, you make your notes, and then you have to observe them back. Like, hey, he's not clear to leave. I recheck him. But this is the practice I did many times. It's my responsibility to make sure that after the fight, they're stable enough, and make sure that they don't have to be transported to the hospital. And my favorite of all favorite parts is just doing the stitches at the end of the fight. They have to wait. Again, it's like, look, there's Iowa still doing tough dudes.
Yeah.
Tough farmer dudes. It's like, hey, look, you're not gonna crazy glue this cut. Let me stitch it. I would just put a gauze and tape it around the head, kind of just to remind them, hey, you got to see the doctor at the end of the fight.
Right.
So that's my favorite part. And we would get together in the back of the show, and the promoters sometimes are there hanging out with us, and we're just suturing, talking, joking, shooting the shit, mm-hmm. and having and recording and having tons of fun. But it's I would say that the protocol, more than anything, of course, your medicine, know how to recognize concussions, know how to suture well in the face, right? Study. So you study the situations that you might encounter during the fight show, and make it smooth. I mean, every doctor has their own kind of flow, but I think that's what works best, right? Creating that environment of a team working the fight, rather than, hey, just I'm a doctor, with a suit sitting next to the cage. Sometimes sometimes you see those fights in Bellator and UFC, and doctors just they come in the cage and they're just worried of how they look, and shine the light in the forehead or
come on, dude.
I was like, I've seen it. I swear to God, the first show that I went, it was me and another doctor who get this, an oncologist, a cancer doctor. I'm like,
what?
You absolutely have no clue what you're doing. And he's just looking pretty with his Armani suit, big smile, looking around, I'm going into the cage, checking the fighter. He's just saying, "Do you need help?" I'm like, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
You're looking good though. Stay there.
Yeah, dude. Just imagine. I don't want to speculate, but just imagine how often that happens, though. Oncologists.
More than you would like to know.
Yeah, oncologists are real doctors. They have a real job, and they're very important. But cage side is not where they should be.
Underplay. No.
Is not where they should be, and that's a dangerous thing because maybe a guy gets rocked and he shouldn't fight anymore, or whatever the protocol is when you get rocked and you shouldn't fight. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what he's doing.
No, you need an experience, and it took me, I would say, 6 months to a year to really hone in my skills as a ringside physician to really recognize the common injuries, because there are common injuries, right? There's a lot of shoulder dislocations. There's a lot of concussions and pre-concussive events. A lot of, facial cuts, eyebrow cuts. Believe it or not, a lot of periodontal injuries. A lot of fighters with broken teeth and jaw problems, neck problems from
squeezing.
So it's a total. And also something that's rarely done is following up with the fighters. I would see a fighter and I would provide them with, hey, just if this is, and a lot of fighters can attest to this and be witness to this and verify my claim. I would, if you have problems, call me. Come back to my clinic. So our fighters would travel, would get MRIs, or get prescriptions for them. So do free physicals for them, which is something that I'm huge on. These guys are they're poor when they begin.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no means to. It takes effort. It takes money for their camp. It takes a fighter physical would run you anywhere from $180 to $250, right? Just a regular basic clinic, and I would do it for free.
Wow.
Just say, hey, share my stuff online. I got your back. So I've done that multiple times. I never boast about individual cases, but I do it, which is what matters, and creating a culture around the fight. It's a huge shame that I moved from Iowa. I had to move from Iowa. I have so many relationships with people in the industry and so many great guys. I know a lot of them were bummed out that I couldn't be a doctor in shows anymore. And I traveled there a whole bunch. I traveled more than 10 or 15 times back to Iowa after I moved now. For
different fight events. Wow. I mean, the world of fighting and being a fight doctor seems fun for sure.
It's the funnest. You won't get rich. A lot of times you're finding your own supplies and stuff, but when it's something that you're passionate about, you do it. You're not seeing dollars and cents behind it. You make a little bit of money from it. But I think it's more of an experience, and it gets you the point of view that people that are true fans of the sport, right, it gives you access to the most intimate moments of fighters, right? When a fighter is crying, or so people don't see that, right? Fighter loses and is crying and throwing up because he's so dehydrated and he has such a huge adrenaline dump. Nobody sees that. You're back there with him, calling on the paramedics to hydrate him. You're part of the biggest moment of a fighter, like the fighter Daniel Franco fighting Jose Aro in North Iowa or CDS, and you discover a brain bleed early, so they can transport him to the hospital, get a brain surgery, and save his life. So those are the little things that are worth more than money, right? Because we love the sport, we don't want to see the guys injured. So that being a part of that gives me access to those critical moments and say, hey, I'm not in there throwing elbows and fists, but I'm in there making sure that these guys continue and entertain us for many years. And I want to keep doing it, every chance I have, and to a bigger degree. So we're working on it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the one of the biggest injury you've seen in your career as a fight doctor, but apparently that was it.
Yeah, it was it. It was a boxing fight. Look, MMA is amazing and violent. It's strong. A lot of people get scared about it, but
Safer.
the sport that scares me for injuries is boxing.
True.
Right? MMA, you get hit once, boom, you go down. You get boom, another shot. Ref steps in, boom, it's over.
You're done.
You're pissed. You lost. You got a little cut. But you're done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boxing, this fight in particular, these little guys. I mean, I think it was 140 some pounds. I don't remember the weight class. These guys were small, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when those gloves landed, I swear to you, I mean, it sounds like a gun going off. And you're like, holy crap! And those big knockouts were enough to multiple brain bleeds, one solid shot, and the accumulation of all those huge shots. Because these guys, the only weapon that they use are their fists.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so well trained and it's so strong that it can do that type of damage. So those were the fights where I was biting my nails and just on my seat, looking for the ref's eyes as they're, I'm trying to look at their eyes to let them know how worried I am. And MMA, I haven't seen broken hands, huge cuts. I mean, you can go over my Instagram and see all the stuff I have there. Huge knockouts, huge submissions, people passing out. But that's the one. One punch, 2 blood vessels burst in the brain membrane, in the membranes that cover the brain.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it gave me a newfound respect for boxing, for sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
That's the king of violence. That's the king of injuries, boxing.
Yeah, for sure. Because let's say you get rocked and you get dropped with a big shot. If you can make it to the count of 8 and the ref checks you out and he dusts your gloves off and you can make it, you'll keep fighting. And that is very dangerous because you got rocked with the punch and you got rocked when your head hit the canvas. So that's something that scares me. Also, I'm a huge fan of all combat sports, but for sure, if my kid ever wanted to practice one of them, I will try to guide him away from boxing as much as I. Yeah. As much as I love the heritage that we have as Puerto Ricans with it, but we look at the history. We look at with Wilfred Benitez. He's not doing all right. We look at a lot of fighters that have died because of it too back home.
Yeah, we have his name, boxer that fought in the Dominican Republic, and damn.
It's in wheelchair, correct? He's in a wheelchair right now. I don't know if it was in the Dominican Republic, but Pritchard. You're talking about Pritchard Colon?
Pritchard Colon. Yeah, he was in the same thing. The interesting thing is that when I saw Daniel Franco go down, and I saw a little tremor he had on his leg, a little unbalanced. That was enough for me to send him from right there. No, you lay down in the ring. We're going to call the paramedics. We're going to start some medication, and we're going to take him directly to the hospital. So there was no time gap there. In Pritchard's case, he was checked out by the ring doctor, and he was taken back to the locker room. And in the locker room, he just stood there for a little while. He felt even worse and was taken to the hospital. So there's no room for any time gap. So you look at both outcomes. both had skin injuries.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was sent right there from the ring. No, you're going to lay down. We're going to get paramedics. We're going to get you on a stretcher. We're going to get the medical treatment done, and you're going to go. The other one was sent. And even this guy, Adonis Stevenson,
Yes.
luckily, he came out of that. But the same thing. Unsteady, can't get up, not quite right, but not quite wrong. Sent to the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily, he had a better outcome than Peachard. I think his family hasn't been as open to the media,
right,
in showing his progress or how he's doing physically. But it goes to show you that, you know, the doctor that's going to this fight show is not. It has to be in a state. You have to have doctors that are the main guys that are seeing this constantly to catch these things, right? You can't just have, I got a promotion. My buddy's a doctor. He does this work for me. He'll do one or two a year. No, you have to do, I would do a year. I would say maybe 40, 45 shows a year. 2 or 3 shows per month. I would do huge Muay Thai tournaments. I would do, anything, Golden Gloves. I would do, all boxing. Some boxing pay-per-view. So you have to see all the forms of combat. I would go train jiu-jitsu. I would go train Muay Thai to see, these guys are going through this type of stuff, and you get a better understanding. So you got to be part of that culture and be immersed in the fight culture, to be respectful of the fighters and to understand the disease process, the pathology, the injuries. So yeah, it takes a lot.
For sure. Now, I want to get into the nitty-gritty now. I want to talk about the problems in MMA, but also in all combat sports. The 2 main problems, which are judging and weight. Let's talk about judging, because the last point you made about a doctor knowing different types of combat disciplines, to know what the fighters are going through, to understand what a leg kick feels like, what a heel hook feels like, what catching a knee to the ribs or an elbow or a spinning elbow to the chin or whatever. Do you feel that the way we can fix judging, one or two things, either get retired fighters and coaches to become judges, certify them as judges all over the world, and there's enough fighters and judges and coaches that we can do that, or grab the current judges that are appointed by the athletic commission and train them at least a little bit in each combat discipline. What would you think would make more sense?
I would say that it makes sense that a lot of times if you're a judge, you're somebody that loves the sport, or you're in bigger states like New York and California and Nevada. These are judges that were in the boxing circuit, so they don't understand the weight, of let's say controlling somebody in guard, or hey, you're in guard. Like we talked about Bass Rutten earlier. He was in my guard, but I was giving it to him, elbows and submission of him. So
from the bottom. Yeah.
A lot of times these guys love the sport. There's some good judges out there, but I think that to get to a level playing field. Yesterday's UFC card, it was horrendous, the judging. That Ben Rockwell fight, God damn it.
Everybody hated
Ben
it.
Rockwell, what does he have to do to beat? I mean, you see Blanco, if you know about the end, and not that he's a bad guy. He has to win, he did,
Right.
The judges gave it to him good, But it was the way, he was on his back toe, in his heels the whole time, backing up. So I think judges have to have, there has to be a structured program, like, hey, what's your previous experience? You wouldn't just put a guy in boxing, just like in jiu-jitsu tournaments, it's jiu-jitsu teachers and masters that are the judges, right?
Yep.
The same has to be for MMA, you put a guy like Marcelo Cross and a guy like Greg Jackson or Trevor Whitman as heads of the programs that train the judges. I see that as a solution, right? They can't be in all the fights. Believe it or not, there's thousands of MMA shows in the U.S., across the U.S., weekly, monthly basis, I would say, going to the silver. So There are people that are consistently being part of the shows that are getting better at it, but there's also people that are consistently in the circuit that are really no good. So, and the commission, the problem is also that the commissions don't have a lot of funding for it, but for the government, it'd be cool if, some funding would be allotted to it. The UFC is the leading brand, so if the UFC would create some sort of program to capacitate judges, because Dana himself, he criticizes a lot of the judges and refs, and even the commentators. John Anik is very boisterous. Very, he speaks his mind about a lot of stuff. It's not only that; it's doubling down and say, "Hey, this is the problem. Let's put some funds into creating a solution." So until the big players in MMA buck up and put money into this problem, it's going to stay, because the state, just like they took charge of testing with USADA, because the states, think about it, the states can't afford all this, the money to create these programs. So big promotions have to fund, let's say a school. If the UFC would get together with Bellator, which is highly unlikely,
not gonna happen.
and say, hey, let's have this big yearly judging symposium. You come in, you pay your own flight and stuff, but you're going to have these resources available. You're going to have an intensive 2 or 3 day program where you meet fighters, you get to practice the sport, you get to review film and score film, and get certificates, get them certified.
Yeah,
that's what it takes.
True. It takes reps too, and years of getting it right. There's fights that are easier than others. There's sport. Boxing is a little easier to judge than MMA for sure. Because it even though they're using a lot of tools, but it's you only hit with your hands. You shuffle, you move your feet and all that. You use a 20 by 20 ring. It's not that complicated. But then MMA can get a little crazier with all the grappling and different tools that they have. But I'm sure they'll get it right, hopefully. But hey, boxing is
we're a young sport. It's a young sport. So even though it seems like it's been around forever, it's been only 2 decades, really.
Yes.
And I would say a decade at the highest level.
Yes.
So, give it another 10, 20 years, it'll be perfect. But in our lifetime, we have the blessing of seeing that evolution and being part of it. So we're blessed.
True. Now, let's get to the fun part.
Yeah.
Weight problems in combat sports, MMA particularly. What do we need, Doctor? Do we need more divisions? Do we need
more divisions?
Yeah. Do we need to do it the way that one championship does it, where they don't allow you to cut weight? They just test you all year, and specifically on fight week to see where your hydration levels are at.
Yeah.
What do you think?
We need more weight classes. This weight cutting is ridiculous. I mean, the problem with weight cutting is that a lot of times you have athletes, wrestlers particularly, that cut weight to gain a little bit of advantage. Right? You get to your post weight, and then you rehydrate. Come fight time, you're 15, 18 pounds higher than your opponent. You have more leverage. You can dictate where the fight takes place. So there's always, even in you got more weight classes, there's always fighters that are going to do that, but there's going to be more weight classes, and you can get those fighters to be less, right? To be the number of fighters that weight cut will be definitely less, because someone will fight the walk around weight. Everybody, one championship is doing a good thing. There's always going to be people that cut weight. Always. You have to be on them 24/7 to prevent that. But if you have more weight classes, we're definitely going to eliminate those harsh weight cuts that we're seeing. That's what we need to do. A couple more weight classes. We'll have more belts. We'll have more contenders. We'll have more super fights. But for some reason, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, we definitely.
It's gonna take something bad. It's gonna take something bad happening with a fighter to get it done. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's gonna take something bad at the highest level, because Khabib has missed weight 27,000 times. No knocking on him, but he's He's apparently this last fight he was pretty. His last two fights he was pretty on point with his weight, but I don't know. I think he's humongous. His bones are made out of I don't know.
Giant.
Yeah, he's humongous to make 150.
I've heard when he fights with DC and he grapples with DC, he holds his own. The size difference. It's not shock. You would think it's shocking, like Mighty Mouse grappling with DC.
Yes,
but with Khabib, the people that have trained and seen them go out, it's like no, it looks like just two dudes that are one's a little bit more heavy and grappling, and he holds his own. So that's why he's dominating.
Yeah, that also. Yeah, his skill level wrestling wise for sure is out of this world. But he has a physical advantage for sure. He's humongous. But I'll do you one better. How about Anthony Rumble Johnson used to make 170?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right.
That guy, his kidneys took a hit. You got to think that when you cut weight, what you're doing is that you're getting fluid out, right? So think about your blood volume as a cup of noodles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting a strainer on that cup of noodles and draining that fluid and just leaving the noodle. So your circulatory system is left with thicker blood. You can have blood clots.
Ugh.
The volume is lower, so you're not. It's a closed loop, right? A pump and blood going around, getting oxygenated. It's taken to the tissue. So when you're taking out more fluid, you're just making it very, very difficult for all the other organs in your system to work, like your kidneys, your brain, your eyes, your lungs, your muscles. Everything is starved. That's why they look like they're dying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And a shout out to my good friend Mike Estes. He used to fight in Bellator. And one of his last weight cuts when he fought the Victory Fighting Championship, I received him in my house after the weight cut was so good. He got like 22 pounds.
Yeah.
This guy was dying. Okay? Luckily, I had, as a good ringside dog, I had a couple IVs in my home. I'm going to tell you this. I put the IV in. I struggled, first of all, because, he's a fighter. God bless your heart, Mike. Like, in terms of a needle, he's just so afraid of the needle. I'm like, no, you sit your ass down. I'm going to poke this needle in your vein, and you're going to get some fluid. So we struggled with that. I had to call my nurse to come in, and she finally got the catheter in and the IV, and that bag of fluid just
disappeared
into his body so quick, and he was alive again. And his heart beat was around 125 beats per minute. It went back down to 90.
Yeah.
Then we did the second bag, and it went to 77. So it's a vascular system that it has less fluid. So to compensate, the heart beats faster to move that little fluid around, that little thick gravy that you have left over quicker to oxygenate your organs. So you're getting damage. Your brain is damaged. Your brain is getting sucked in, and there's little veins that connect the dura, the arachnoid matter, and the dura matter to the skull on the inside. So you're stretching that out. It takes time to rehydrate that. Then so it's just horrendous overall. Right, you're getting closer to the brink of death. If a fighter, and I know it's happened, if you're sick, right, you have a cold or a sinus infection like I have,
right,
you're getting you're getting purposely dehydrated. You can get septic, right? So infections can worsen. You can get kidney failure. You name it, and these guys get all this stuff, but they're so well conditioned that they push through. And we've had tremendous luck. We have tremendous luck because I personally know of no cases of acute renal failure. But all of them go through a process that's called acute tubular necrosis. There's a loss of pressure in the kidney with the frequent death of some of the tissue coverings and the kidney cells. It's not good. One fighter is going to end in dialysis. Eventually, somebody's going to end in dialysis with permanent kidney damage. So It just we've been lucky. We've been so lucky
For sure.
because we haven't had any deaths in the UFC in big cards. We haven't had huge, horrendous injuries like that. And with the weight cutting the same, like you said, Anthony Rumble Johnson. Jesus Christ, have you seen him lately?
Have you seen him? It looks like there's some guy ate him, and that's him walking around.
He looks like a goddamn tank.
Yeah, he needs
The
to
fact
stop.
that he made 170.
He's like 240 something or 250 maybe if not more.
Come on,
Dude,
sir.
yeah, he needs to chill out. He's humongous. And then he always had trouble getting to 170, but he did make it a bunch of times. I want to say more than 5 times he made it.
Brink of death.
Yes.
He took himself to the brink of death, and I'm going to make a bold claim. Right? He gave himself irreparable kidney damage from that. We're not measuring it. When the sport is young, in 30 years, all these fighters have cut all this weight. They're going to be in nephrology clinics. And I've discussed this with kidney specialists. I have a friend, Dr. Luis Torres. Shout out to Luis Torres. I call him Junito. Shout out Junito. I've had a conversation with him. He's lazy as all hell. I've told him, hey, let's make a video for Twitter. But he's afraid of the camera.
Oh, no, come on.
I've had the discussion with him, and he's surprised as well. And the kidneys control salt, chloride, potassium. So we're lucky that we haven't had a fighter that has had problems with arrhythmia right there, right? And so it's just a question of time, right? Under my watch, no fighters, luckily, will get that. I'm very vigilant and very, very strict with all that stuff, but it's gonna happen eventually. I hate to say it, and I hate to be, the bad news bearer, but it's gonna happen.
So we can add divisions. We can add maybe a 165 and then change 170 to 175 and then close that gap between 180 and 205.
Wow, 205 to 265, right? So limit. Either you're 205,
right,
or under 265. So you're telling me there's a 50-pound gap that has no more divisions? Think of a guy like the Cain Velasquez. Like everybody goes, hey, look at Cain Velasquez. He did it at the highest level, but look what's happening now.
Yes.
His body's just breaking down from fighting giant dudes like Brock Lesnar, Ngannou, you name it, all these giants, and he's taking all the damage that shouldn't be. I mean, we should have had a Cain Velasquez for the longest time, but since he was and nobody talks about this. Everybody talks about, Cain's injuries, Well, guess what? Cain's injuries are coming because he's 225, and that's wet, with clothes on and carrying a backpack, fighting giant dudes like Brock Lesnar and Ngannou. He fought, Minotauro. He was in wars with Ngannou, with
JDS, Los Santos.
Yeah, with JDS. So all those injuries, all the wear and tear from his body is coming from that. So you introduce more divisions, and you have a guy that fought guys closer to his weight. He has a healthier, longer lived career. And when you look at the research and you see, the lower weight guys, the injuries are less, and they're getting, their careers are longer, right? Once you start getting up there in 185 and above, the guy's career are shorter, right?
Yep.
You see a 185er, a 185er or a 205er that's been in the game for more than 10 years. You don't see it, but yet Diego Sanchez,
yes,
the OG,
wow,
doing it big after being the winner of UFC of the Ultimate Fighter 1.
Yes,
Look at him.
Yes.
Jesus Christ! So fighter longevity, it has a lot to do with having healthy fighters and having healthy fighters. You can't have healthy fighters if you don't eliminate weight cutting. That's very simple medical facts, and You can't go against that fact.
Nope. And hey, man, I think the way that one championship is doing it, going back to them, I think they have something going right. I think they have a great idea because they keep testing allegedly, but they keep testing these fighters on fight week, and they test them during the year to see where their hydration levels are at and what weight they're healthy, and they moved all the divisions up a division, if I'm correct. And
it's the right move.
Yeah, and it seems like that's very good. Everybody looks healthier, and good grief, Alan Ngalani, who I don't know what he's made out of, but I don't know if you've seen him, the heavyweight from one championship. Do you know who I'm talking about? Bald dude.
I know what you're
good
talking about,
Jesus, what is he made out of?
Cable and wood,
right?
Old reclaimed wood. Yeah,
man. And he's up there in age too. He's not a kid, and he still looks jacked. He looks great. But yeah, that one championship is doing a good thing. Hopefully, maybe more companies should maybe follow suit and see where this takes them.
I think so. I think they'll follow suit eventually, but it'll take a couple things happening, and because it's sad, but in this industry, nothing gets done unless something happens.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's going to take a couple scares to add a couple weight classes on. Hopefully, I'm wrong, and I'm proved wrong, and this and the commissions just act, and we get more divisions, but. From the way it's going, from the pattern I see it's just wrong. I'll do my best to influence everything in Florida and Puerto Rico and even Iowa moving forward. But we need more voices and more people pushing that idea.
Yeah, we need to fix it. Because past boxing examples like Gerald McLellan against Nigel Benn, it was Gerald McLellan. He's not looking too good. Obviously, after a couple years after that fight, his health started declining, and he's now, I don't know if he's in a wheelchair, but he's not okay. He's not okay, and it's because of that fight.
And those fights take like I mentioned with JDF and Kane, it takes a certain amount out of you. So longevity does have a big role here. And the weight differences play into that, damage that fighters are taking. Right? So there's a lot of factors that play into that, right? Fights being stopped at the right time, not letting fighters take huge damage, and having panels of physicians and officials saying, "Hey, look, this fighter pay has to change because imagine a fighter like Josh Emmett." Right, to give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been out of action for the greater part of 2018 after Jeremy Stevens knocked him out, and he received some savage punishment in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So what's his income after that, right?
Wow,
can't make money the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So you get put in a tough economical situation for putting your body on the line. So there's plenty to do. So I think just all these little changes, right? Better judges, no weight cutting, better fighter pay, more weight classes. When you stack it up, you see, there's a pattern. There's a group of things, better trained doctors, right? So all these things, when you stack them up together, they'll help the sport move forward. I just think it's just, we'll see it over a longer period of time, right? It's not going to be like, 2019 is going to be the year where we get all that stuff. I think putting it out there and speaking it, right, it's like a very Conor McGregor-esque.
Yes.
Like you have to talk about it to get it moving. So hopefully us doing this, but it's all those little things stacking up together that's going to make, okay, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna have better athletes. I see the future of having something like the NFL Combine to get fighters from amateur level to pro, because what's the measuring stick to know when an amateur is going to go pro?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing there. So add that to the stack of things, right? So
true.
All those little things. all those little things, and we'll have a better sport altogether.
For sure. We need. This needs to change. But I think everything's moving in the right direction. Maybe it could move a little faster, a little quicker. But I don't know. It needs to change. Hey, Doc, what are you paying attention to boxing a little bit?
A little bit. I haven't been able to see. I know that there's a big movement with that Zone and Showtime. So I think it's cool. We're seeing a shift. I think the pay-per-view model is gonna die, actually.
Yeah.
And all this digital world. I feel the fighters signing contracts with the Zone or ESPN Plus and all that stuff. So I see that pattern, and I see that model just changing everything radically, and hopefully we get rid of all those crazy belts.
Yes.
And get a more unified system.
Yeah, too many regulating bodies. I mean, there should only be one champion. There shouldn't be 4 champions of the same weight division.
Oh my God!
That's
4
silly.
heavyweight champions, really?
That's silly.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to understand the financial structure of or the financial benefits for the different regulating bodies because they exist for a reason. Because I'm sure that it has nothing to do with the benefit of the fighters, but it's more of a backstage kind of thing. But it is ridiculous to have 4 champions at the same weight. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Do you follow Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia? That's coming up next week.
No, I didn't. I haven't been seeing it.
All right, so pretty much Errol Spence is like the killer at 147 at welterweight, and Mikey was a killer at 135, and he looked great at 142. But this is his first fight at 147, so he's fighting the killer at 147. How do you think that would go down?
Is Mikey fighting at a higher weight or a lower weight?
Mikey is a 135 or 140, so he's going to 147 for the first time against the killer at 147.
It's tough. A lot of fighters when they move up, they lose that momentum in terms of their power, right? So they have the expectation of having an effect on their opponents. So when they see, it's gonna take. I mean, I know the fight. I don't know Mikey. I've seen previous fight. I'm not up to date in this matchup, but I know that it's gonna be surprising for him not having the same influence with his shot. So it's gonna be interesting to see if he takes more of a Floyd Mayweather-esque type of approach to the fight, and if he's able to outbox Spence, I think he'll have a good fight. But in terms of we will have to see if he really if it's shocking for him, because sometimes there's desperation when you see that your punches aren't the same. Kind of a Roy Jones, when Roy Jones went up to heavyweight. He had some success there, but there was definitely problems with changing weights and keeping the power at those different stages. So it's going to be interesting to observe. For sure. It's going to be a fun fight. Let's see, because all the fighters that I've spoken to, they've all favored Errol Spence because he's the guy that has experience at that weight. He's the stronger, bigger guy, and he's very skilled too. So I really want to see that matchup. It's going to be at Cowboy Stadium, which is like 45 minutes where I live. But that ticket, though, that ticket price is, brother. That ticket, it starts like at $95. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, Jerry Jones needs to stop. Him and his cowboy money. So about boxing, one last point I want to touch. Are you aware of the heavyweight picture right now with Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua?
Oh man, I'm my point of view there is, Tyson. I think Tyson Fury. Did he sign with the Zone or with ESPN?
With ESPN.
And I think Deontay signed with the Zone.
I think he's gonna. Yeah, he's gonna.
Yeah, it's it's heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's heartbreaking, but I think it's a smart choice by Tyson because he has the people's vote.
Mm-hmm.
He's the people's champ, right?
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
were so pumped with his story that I think he doesn't need Deontay anymore to move forward. As crazy as it sounds,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't need the Bronze Bomber because people already took his feel-good story and it feels almost like a movie instead of matchups. So any fight that he does, even if he's fighting cans in ESPN, people are gonna tune in and he's gonna make a lot of money. So it's I think the politics of boxing are gonna steal that matchup, and Deontay, Tyson, and Anthony Joshua are they're just gonna be missing each other, kind of not fighting each other. So they'll make the most money they can without fighting each other. It's gonna happen like Pacquiao and Mayweather.
Yeah, hopefully not, man.
It's gonna, man. There are a lot of. I know boxing promoters, and I've been in the room with boxing promoters, and the energy that they give you, it's like you understand boxing. Once you sit down with a big boxing promoter and you're like, hey, nah, blah, 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 and you talk to them, you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
you get it.
You gotta burn your clothes afterwards. Yeah, man. Hopefully not, but I think it's gonna happen that way. I don't know. I think out of the three, Tyson Fury is the best boxer. I think he beats them both. He already beat Deontay. That was just a funny business going on.
I agree.
Yeah, funny business, like we've seen before. But yeah, I think he's the best out of the three for sure. And I think what's gonna happen is one of these guys is gonna get touched by someone that doesn't have such a big name, and all that interest is gonna go away. Like, I don't know, Big Baby Miller, who's fighting Anthony Joshua in Madison Square Garden, he's not the biggest name, but he can crack. And yeah. So I don't know, man. This could all go away real quick. Hopefully not, but it could. And just because of politics in boxing, which have ruined boxing for the last 50, 60 years.
Yeah, it has. And hopefully, everything will consolidate in this online platforms, but it's going to take even more time to get all of the brand of boxing renewed. And we haven't seen Zuffa boxing yet, so that's another player that we don't even know if it's going to be a factor in all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. True. All right, Doc. It's been awesome. Do you wanna?
Yes.
You want to tell the people your social media and what you're doing next?
Oh, absolutely. I'm in everywhere as Octagon Doctor. On Twitter, it's at DRYARED. I mean, you type in Octagon Doctor in Facebook and in Instagram, you'll find me. You'll find my ugly mug. I have a cartoonist draw it, so it's easier.
Right, easier on the eyes.
So yes, I have a lot of cool stuff on my media. You've seen, I like to break down whenever there is a chance to, introduce a little bit of science and medicine in what's happening in social media. On the combat sports, I like to put it out there. So this year, I made it my mission to produce this content constantly, and hopefully I'll start. I think there's a couple promotions that are in contact with me here in Florida, and there's even talks of adding a category to the Florida MMA Awards for Best Doctor. So maybe next year I'll be up for that. That's going to be exciting. So
wow,
yes,
that's nice. Soon it will be named the Dr. Yared Vazquez Award.
Yes, we'll do it.
Yeah, man. Hey, I really want to have you on more times during as much as I can, for sure.
Absolutely. You can count me as the as Angels Combat official medical collaborator.
Yes.
Anytime you need me, I'm here, brother. I'm here to help you grow your brand as we go both brands.
Thank you, sir. Likewise, over here, we're all part of this big dysfunctional combat sports family. So we're all rowing the same boat, going the same way. Hopefully we get this thing rolling and get Puerto Rico on the map. All right. Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care. That was a great conversation, a fun conversation with the mighty Octagon Doctor, Yared Vazquez. He's number one, making the island, Puerto Rico, making us all proud. Number two, he is bringing eyes and ears and attention, as we all are, towards the Puerto Rico MMA scene, which is it's just a few pushes away from becoming a real good ground for MMA events that the outside would be looking at. Also, he's a great doctor, which is he's a great doctor in his private practice as it is, but then when it comes to being a fight doctor, he brings a love and an interest to the game that no one can compare. So I'm really happy that I had him on the show. I was not kidding when I said that I'm gonna have him on the show as much as I can, because he's a genius, and he's doing the right thing for the game, and bringing all that insight to this platform is very, very important, and it should be done by everybody that has the ability and the talent to do it, and Dr. Yared Vazquez is one of them. Remember, guys, to visit infinitudfight.com, infinitudfight.com/customize, and our code word $5 Angels fans, $5 Angels fans, to get $5 off your order of your customized boxing gloves, shorts, jiu-jitsu gis, all that good stuff. I think we're done. I think this was very fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it again with Dr. Vazquez very, very soon. This was Angel's Combat World. This was Angel. Thank you. See you later, and take care.